This episode of TRS is brought to you by The Ben Heck Show, Building, Modding, and Electronics. Brought to you exclusively by Element 14. Coming up, it's time for some more insane car action with the new movie Fast 5.
Everybody, and welcome to the Totally Rad Show. We've got a great week. Today we are going to be talking about the new Fast and the Furious movie, Fast 5.
And tomorrow we're checking in on Mortal Kombat.
Hence the amazing background.
And, it came out last week, but it's a reboot of Mortal Kombat.
Yes, thank you, Danish Saeed, for sending that in.
That's right, and then Wednesday, we read comic books.
Ooh.
Thor, big movie. We'll be talking about that soon. We're talking about the comic book.
How
Thor.
soon, Alex?
Not that soon, but Thursday. This just in, we're going to be reviewing the movie Thor.
Thor's Day.
Thor's Day.
Nice.
Oh, Lord.
And then Friday, we got the game that you love, we love, media mashup, smashing movies together, creating new movies out of thin air.
Love it.
Incredible. As you said, thank you, Danish Saeed. 2 weeks in a row.
Booyah.
2 weeks in a row.
Hey, that's good content.
And he worked on Mortal Kombat. He broke into the video game industry.
Oh, right, yeah.
And the first game he worked on was Mortal Kombat.
Amazing.
He was watching our show before he ever got in, when it was only a dream in his little eye. I don't know.
He only has one eye?
He may have regularly sized eyes. I don't know.
Or two. All right, it's time
Dan?
to get started.
Today in movies, we are talking about Fast 5.
Woo!
So, Fast 5.
Furious about it.
The cast members from the previous 4 Fast and Furious movies return for one final chapter that takes place before the events of Tokyo Drift.
Interesting.
So Fast 5 is basically Fast 3.
Well, I was gonna say, did they didn't. This isn't actually the final chapter. Like this, they're trying to reboot the thing to make it a new thing.
Right.
So not quite a final chapter.
No, it's not. But they're
remotely
returning.
a final
Nothing's
chapter.
ever the but they're
Yeah, like
returning
the
for
Last
one last
Crusade,
big
there was
job.
another
In fact, in the story of the
Right,
movie,
got it.
which I am
Now,
summarizing.
I see what you mean.
But I just so one thing to take note of is that this is actually set in canon before the fourth film.
That's why I was so confused.
Got it.
What's weird is that it's called Fast 5. But I think it's because 5 big names return.
Wait, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So, because I don't really know the canon, but I want to make sure I get this.
Yeah.
1 is Fast and Furious.
Correct.
Then 2 Fast, 2 Furious.
You got it with Tyrese.
Then is it Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift?
Correct.
That's release chronology.
Yes.
So this movie is before Fast and the
Tokyo.
Furious 3.
Before Tokyo,
Right.
because
No, but Tokyo was its own thing, separate, right?
But it was Fast and Furious
4
3.
came out. 4 chronologically was after 2.
But
and then
before
5
Tokyo?
right. No,
then-
after 2.
Yes.
I mean after Tokyo.
It was after Tokyo, right. So
This is
chronologically they were released in order until now.
We should be talking about Star Wars right now.
No, but I mean, this is important stuff.
Yeah.
So chronologically it
Yeah.
fits between 2 and 3 in the sequence. Because 3 is
You're
Tokyo,
right. Yes.
4 comes
yes,
after
he's right.
Tokyo.
He's right. You're right. You're right.
Just wanted to make sure.
But I said it is Fast 3. I did say that right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Justin Lin, speaking of Tokyo Drift,
Yeah.
recently came on the series for Tokyo Drift, did the last one, and then this one as well.
Gonna be doing Terminator, evidently.
Yeah, he's already doing
With
some
Arnold.
other huge thing. Anyway, are we fans of the series here? I don't know. What's happening? Jeff?
What is this? How
How do you feel about the first Fast and Furious and the sequels thereafter, and then tell me about this one for you.
I never saw Tokyo Drift.
Okay.
I think we reviewed Too Fast, Too Furious.
No. We reviewed Fast Furious.
I don't want to have this conversation anymore.
Yeah. We reviewed the fourth one.
It's funny that you frame the conversation that way, because it struck me while watching this.
I don't like this.
This movie is made for people who have a genuine affection for these characters. This movie is basically Ocean's 11, but with like B and C list actors instead of the A list actors in Ocean's 11. It is a heist caper movie, as you said, and a lot of the fun that this movie depends on for it to be a great experience is your affection for these characters. And clearly, a lot of the audience that I saw this film with, I was in an audience of fans, not a press screening, loved it. Loved when someone come on the screen or a surprise appearance of a character from another part of the movies happened. Huge applause, oh my gosh, we have affection for these characters. I, unfortunately, do not. What I enjoy in this series is the over-the-top action, fast cars, fun, well-shot action sequences. And there are two in this movie that I think are good. One at the very, very beginning and one at the very, very end. In the middle, there's really not that much action other than sort of old school shoot 'em up, like Stallone era shooting a lot of people dead in movies kind of action, which I didn't find to be particularly exciting. We've kind of seen the...
Are you talking about the... Yeah, you are.
Yeah. I think that
favela.
we've seen favela done way better in Incredible Hulk, in Bourne, in a lot of... it's kind of a played out trope at this point. So I didn't really love that. I am, as you guys know, one of the millions and millions of The Rock's fans, and I dug The Rock in this movie. He knows what kind of movie he's in, and he's like on 11 or 12 the whole time, and he's got some like juicy, ridiculous lines. So that was kind of fun. But overall, I didn't have much enjoyment because so much of the movie isn't action, it's hanging out with people that you're supposed to like, and I just don't really like them.
Alex! Interesting.
How do you feel about the first Fast and Furious and its sequel?
Never saw the first one.
Really?
Yeah, never saw the first one. Don't think I saw the second one. Saw Tokyo Drift. Yeah, I liked it. The guy who, his mom owns the sushi place I used to go to, Sung, whatever his name is.
Sung Kang, the guy who's
Yeah,
in
so
this
I know him pretty well, just from chatting with him about stuff. So it's always sort of fun to see him in a movie. I'm like, it's the guy from the sushi place. What's up? High five. Yeah, so I liked Tokyo Drift because he was. I was like, oh, this is great, and there's cars and spinning.
Right.
And then fast forward.
Drifting's the technical term.
Yeah. And then Furious 4, or whatever it was called, Fists of
Fast
Fury.
Furious.
Fast Furious was fine, not great. This movie, to me, I think really bumped up the level of. Boy, I hope that I agree with you. The Rock really felt like he knew what kind of movie he was in. Paul Walker, Vin Diesel really felt like they thought they were in a much better movie.
Yeah, exactly.
They really thought that they were. This was Oscar contention.
Yeah.
Whereas The Rock, dude,
Vin's like, I'm still on Saving Private Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
There were times because The Rock
They
would
have to do the thing. I mean,
No, because you got it. The Rock. He would say the same types of lines, but he said it in a way where you were like, he's in on the joke. And so then I'm laughing at this great joke.
Right.
Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, not in on the joke.
If they did what The Rock did for those roles, I'm just saying, it would come off like Street Fighter, that movie, where he was really over the top.
Maybe.
And, you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Just saying.
But what it did come off as, the way that they played it, was
I know what you mean.
Bad actors attempting to put bad lines in to elevate this material that has no right to be elevated. Because without elevating it, it's cheesy writing. The story is completely bullshit. I mean, it's just like whatever, but it's fun because it's you know what I mean. Like, there's why is he showing up at the police officer's house? There's no reason except it'd be a cool scene. Was what if, and then maybe he like grabs her hand and he's got the gun. Ooh, dangerous. But then he puts the gun down. Now she loves it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think anybody could ever know what I felt until I met you.
Are you Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, seriously. That's the character. That's the guy that should have been here. So there was enough fun to be had that I had fun. But there were some real oh my God, that was supposed to be here and it was here. You know what I mean? But it was enough of a fun thing. And the funny thing is, I kind of disagree with you about needing to know what these characters were. There was a fun little sort of like after the sort of big special effectsy ending credits before the like boring droll of the roll credits. There was like a scene and it had two characters in it. I mean, I'm not connected.
You never saw the other.
I'm not connected.
Yeah, but it meant
But when
something.
she showed up, I was like, was like, that. And then when it was like, you know,
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
it got weird.
Don't spoil it.
You know why? Because it was The Rock.
Spoiler.
They knew. I think I just
Don't
said.
spoil.
Yeah,
We're gonna no.
Jesus.
He's gonna bleep that out. He's gonna bleep that out. But it was so.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a mix.
I remember loving the first Fast and Furious. It was very exciting, and it's Point Break with cars, and we saw car racing the way we had never seen car racing up in that point. And I dug it. I did not really enjoy any of the sequels. I always love how those action sequences are shot, and when Justin Lin came on board, it really was the way I'd always wanted to see car chases. I love how he shoots, and it's still intact with this movie. I love the way the action scenes take place. I love the over-the-topness of it. Everything. This movie fully embraces what it is, but it's tough because there's so much not action.
Exactly.
That it's a little bit of a chore to get through. I remember the previous Fast and Furious movie was very
His name can't possibly be figured out based on.
was similar, but this movie at least had a little bit of a sense of humor to it, and there was some fun banter between guys. Not all that could have been better, but I could have enjoyed that more if it was an Ocean's movie.
My big problem with it is that it's a heist movie, and the fun of the heist movie is clever heisting.
Yeah.
And most of the solutions in this movie, there's a couple that are clever, but most of them are the least interesting way. For example, there's a scene where Vin Diesel and Paul Walker are hung by handcuffs over their heads, and their solution is Vin just goes, "Poof, I'm out." There's no like tension about it.
Yeah.
There's no how is he gonna do that? It just happens.
I think this movie, we didn't end up seeing it's funny you brought up Stallone. We didn't end up seeing the Expendables.
Yeah.
I think this movie delivers on what I was hoping, and maybe I'll be proven wrong after seeing it, but I think this movie delivers on what the Expendables was after. Because there is a fisticuffs between Vin Diesel and
The Rock.
and it is bad.
Yeah, it's
It
pretty
is
cool.
that kind of action scene. I mean,
That was supposed to be a day's shoot, and they shot it over a week.
if you are a fan of, if you turn on TBS Superstation and Commando or Running Man comes on and you go, they don't make them like they used to. They just did. You will be happy.
Do you think
Go
The Rock
see
stole the
Fast
movie?
5.
I do.
Yeah, in
First
a
off,
way.
The Rock,
in a way.
gigantic.
I know.
I kept
And
seeing the
constantly
poster. I
squeezing.
kept seeing the poster, and I was like, well, clearly they've photoshopped The Rock because he's not that big. And then in the movie, you're like, he is that big. Amazing.
Can't stop The Rock.
So I think we're recommending Fast 5 if you want to have a good time.
Less than Jeff. All right, everybody, remember to stick around for this day in rad history. But first, we want to thank our sponsor. We have been talking about the modding wizard, Ben Heck, a lot. But just hear us out, because Ben Heck and his friends will build the most amazing community-inspired creations. The newest episode, Ben goes to the Midwest Gaming Classic to show off his pinball machines, which is amazing. Also, his special guests, Pinball War nemesis Jerry Ellsworth, will be making a featured appearance. Watch out the action scene between Ben and Jerry. You don't want to miss it. I guess they get into some sort of big pinball wizard showdown, as it were.
That Midwest
Anyway,
gaming thing is awesome. It's like all classic arcades and pinballs
and the Ben Heck Show is obviously sponsored by Element 13. 14, which is amazing. Element14.com, which is a community site all about gathering together the modding whizzes, as it were. Anyway, check it out. It's on what, Tuesdays? Something like that. Tuesdays.
It's written here.
Wednesdays. It's written down here.
Don't forget to send in your backgrounds.
Yes.
We love getting these backgrounds in. Send them to fans at totallyradshow.com, and maybe your background can be featured on our show.
Yeah, like Danish Saeed.
Tomorrow on the show, we check out the new Mortal Kombat.
So today is May 2nd. On this day in rad history, in 1983, Microsoft introduces the Microsoft Mouse, a low-cost handheld pointing device for use with IBM PCs, also known as a stick.
Interesting. Shortly after.
That's the low-cost pointing device. You're like, right there,
Shortly
sir.
after, 2 years after the mouse was invented, 2 years and a couple days.
After the mouse was
After the
invented
mouse
by
was
Xerox,
invented.
then stole by Apple,
Yeah.
and then
Well, actually, I was corrected on that.
patented
You were
by
right.
Microsoft.
It wasn't stolen. Evidently, what happened
They
was
folded that company part.
well,
next, right?
they had an agreement where they said you can come and look at anything you like at Xerox PARC, and you can take that technology. And they had this like sharing
Lord.
agreement. So
Yeah.
Wow.
you were right.
My lord.
Such a wonderful, generous thing they did.
Well, it was generous.
And then Microsoft, of course, went 2 years later. We want that.
We want
Yeah.
that. Pwing. Anyway, thank you, Alexandra Bebo, for sending that in.
I think it's Alexander.